what is the effect of increasing the frequency of incident light on the metal surface? You can see that the energy associated with each photon is given by this formula, E equals to h nu, where nu stands for the frequency. So if you are increasing the frequency of the light falling on the metal surface, actually you are increasing the energy of each photon. So how to increase the energy of each photon? So that the simplest way is to increase the frequency of light or the photons which are falling on the metal surface. Now what exactly is the way to increase the frequency of light? If you see this formula, E equals to h nu and frequency is speed by wavelength. If you look into the wavelength and if you see here the spectrum of light visual, you know that red, this is red light, has the highest wavelength and violet has the lowest wavelength. So if someone is changing this light from red to violet, if someone is changing this light which is falling on the metal surface from red to violet, he is actually changing the wavelength. So red has highest wavelength but violet has the lowest wavelength. So which means that I am decreasing the wavelength of light which is falling on the metal surface. And decreasing the wavelength of light means if wavelength decreases, then the energy associated with each photon will also increase. So the simplest way to understand is, if you want to increase the frequency of light, you simply have to change the color of light which is falling on the metal plate. So if someone is changing the color of light which is falling on the metal plate, he or she is simply changing the frequency of light, as told here. Like red is replaced by violet light, means I am decreasing the wavelength from high to low, and decreasing the wavelength simply increases the energy of the photons. So now the photons are having more energy. That means photons associated with violet light are more energetic than the photons associated with red light. And increasing the frequency of the light has no effect on the number of photoelectrons. It simply increases the kinetic energy of the photoelectrons. So we can conclude that frequency of light, frequency of incident light, light means photons here, is directly proportional to the kinetic energy of photoelectrons. So let us conclude. How to increase the quantity or the amount of photoelectrons? You simply increase the intensity of light. Intensity means brightness of light. If you want to increase the speed of the photoelectrons, then you have to simply increase the frequency of light. And changing frequency means you have to change the color of light.